The two top dog gaming consoles. You're on a budget and you have two options for who's in control of your television and your gaming experience. Me, the Apple Sheep, has no bias in this field and have never owned a console before. So, which do I think is the better choice? I don't know, it's not that exciting. Neither console excited my life. But at least they don't explode. So on that note, let's start the battle of the consoles. Now, before I begin, you may be wondering, so let me clarify. The reason I'm reviewing these two particular consoles is because they have the same starting price. Later on in the year, if you're still interested, you want me to compare the PS4 Pro with the Xbox One Scorpio, I can compare those if you want me to, because I think those will be more tied in the spec and price range. But for now, let's focus on these two consoles because they're available now. Starting with the Xbox, because it has the most noticeable refresh, which happened not too long ago. Let me walk you through what my first impressions were with it. I just unboxed it, plugged it into the TV, and BAM! System update. Not even a friggin' home screen, just immediately needs attention. And if I tried to update it at my house, it would have taken 8 hours to download. So that wasn't gonna work, so I drove to my friend's house with much faster Wi-Fi, and even there, it took like an hour for the whole thing to download, restart, boot up again. After it booted up again, it needed to update the controller, and to update the controller, it had to turn off the console again. It was crazy, it didn't even know what it freaking was. It's an Xbox One S, but when you first turn it on, it thinks it's a regular Xbox One. They just didn't ship it with the update 8 firmware. I was really confused. Okay, once it was now fully running and it was working, got some basic TV apps running on it, Netflix, YouTube, all that. Then I figured I'd put in Master Chief Collection because that's the main reason people buy Xboxes, right? Gotta get into that Halo field. And you know, it's weird. Microsoft make these weird disc-looking things. They're round and they put part of the game on them. And originally they used to put movies on these things. And you put that into this giant slot in the front of the console and then it starts running part of the game. Okay, no, just kidding. I'm not that old. I know what floppy disks are. Moving on to the PlayStation 4 Slim. Luckily, when I plugged this guy in, it took a solid minute before it was up and running and ready to use. No system updates out of the box, which was really great. Now, of course, the PlayStation did need updates later on. I just think it's nice that Sony decided to ship the latest firmware with this console. Okay, so moving on to design. Of course, a lot of this is personal preference, but I noticed fingerprints on the PS4 are way easier to see. That plastic look it has basically means whenever you touch it, you're gonna know because it leaves these kind of weird looking smudges on the surface, and it's very obvious when there's been hands all over it. On the new Xbox, it retains its sleek and pure look even when you've been moving it around. Just don't get dirt on that white body because that would stand out. And I think all the holes they have to cool off the console, I think that looks pretty slick, personally. I think it also helps it remain quieter because oftentimes when using the PS4 Slim, it would make noises like this. And when you're using the PS4, you're like, calm down, it's okay, relax. Xbox, I never really had that problem. So I think the Xbox still looks pretty sleek and stylish and sits very well on your TV stand, even if it is still quite a bit bigger than the PS4 Slim. But hey, the Xbox is at least making the moves in the right direction, given it is 40% smaller than the last Xbox. However, I do feel that the slimness of the PS4 has one key advantage. A lot of you probably were thinking, okay, the console's thinner now, who cares? It's a console, you don't hold it, it sits down most of the time. Who cares how heavy it is? However, with the PS4 Slim, I can fit it under my television so that it doesn't need its own dedicated shelf. And I think that is a big selling point because it can keep a very, very low profile on your stand and you don't have to get really creative with it like you do with the Xbox One, which does not fit under my TV because though it is smaller, it takes up a lot of space. So I think that slim design does actually make a difference on your set. But on the contrary, the slim rhombus look, you know how it's all sliding this way? That little lip it creates on the back makes it harder to plug in things because that's where all the ports are. So whenever you want to plug in something, you kind of have to turn the console all the way up because you can't really see the ports because of that rhombus look. And I get they want it to look slick and cool, but I just felt like I had to yank the PlayStation out of its place every time I wanted to plug something in. Whereas the Xbox just has a flat back, you can just, you know, turn around behind it. It's not as hard. So in terms of design, I personally think the Xbox looks a lot better, but the PlayStation works a lot better under your TV. But still, the Xbox is smaller, but nowhere near where it needs to be. Ask Johnny Ive, he'll tell you how to do it. Now I need to talk about some of the things us nerds talk about. The Xbox One S supports up to 4K video output, and even plays 4K Blu-rays, if you can find some of those, with HDR support. HDR being high dynamic range. I don't think most people are gonna know what that is, unless you put a crappy TV right next to it and say, see, HDR is better. But still, it's a feature nonetheless. Great. And for the $300 model, you get a 500 gigabyte hard drive. And if you get the $400 model, you can get a 2 terabyte hard drive. And that one comes with a vertical stand if you want to prop it up on your TV thing. But to me, that looks dangerous, like it's ready to fall, but okay. It's cool though. Also, if you want that sweet spot at 1 terabyte, it's $350. On the PS4 Slim, Sony is releasing an update later on this year. They may have already done it, actually. I wouldn't know because I don't have an HDR TV. But they're releasing firmware that's gonna make every PS4, not just the Slim, regular ones too, have HDR support. So they're tied on that aspect. Also, even if you don't own the Slim and you just have a regular PS4, you can right now buy the PlayStation VR headset, which is $400, which is actually like the cheapest way to get, you know, flagship VR. You know, it's VR that doesn't use a smartphone. So PlayStation VR has, you know, ARM controllers, and it uses the PlayStation camera to track your movements. So you're not quite getting the Oculus or the Vive, but you're probably getting a lot of that same design and interface and feel for about half the price. And if you want me to review the PlayStation VR headset, let me know. All PlayStation 4s can already output 4K video and photos, but not yet gameplay until the PlayStation 4 Pro comes out. So in terms of video output, it is also tied with the Xbox One S. And in terms of storage, for the same $300, you get a 500 gigabyte hard drive. And if you want more storage than that, I'm afraid you're gonna have to try a little bit harder. I couldn't find an easy way to just buy a 1 terabyte PS4 Slim or PS4 period. The only kinds I could find were limited edition bundles, and there was absolutely no sign of a 2 terabyte version anywhere. That's just the old PS4. If we're talking the Slim, there is only a 500 gigabyte Slim available everywhere. But of course, if you need that extra space, you can buy external hard drives, or if you're feeling really adventurous, you can install internal ones. And on Amazon, you can even buy some unofficial PlayStation 4s that they put internal hard drives in, like 4 terabytes even. But they're not from Sony, so I wouldn't completely recommend it, but if you want to, go for it. But as of right now, even the PlayStation 4 Pro doesn't have a 2 terabyte option. Those just come with 1 terabyte. So that's really just a flat advantage the Xbox has over the PlayStation right now. There's not a lot of those, you know? Okay, now in terms of gameplay. Sure, a lot of you have been asking about this. If you want to get really complicated about statistically which console makes games look better, I don't personally think you should count that as a factor. Okay, now hear me out. The console's performance of games are obviously the best they've ever been. Both look very good. And I bet if we took a magnifying glass and just zoomed in all the quality of the image as close as we could and looked for differences, I'm sure we could see one console gets lighting a tad bit better and a bit more detail out of an image. So like maybe one's a little bit better. But listen, at the end of the day, they're just about the same. In the end, you're not really gonna notice which one makes games look better. But the PS4 does look a lot better. Let's talk about controllers. The Xbox One S comes with the same controller as the last Xbox that takes 2 AA's in the back that luckily the console gives you when you buy it. On the PS4 Slim, they've slightly redesigned the controller by adding a little light at the top of the touchpad to go along with the light on the front. And again, the PlayStation has a touchpad and the Xbox doesn't, so there's an advantage. And this is also chargeable instead of taking AA's, which I think is way better. There's a couple things you can do with the touchpad. I haven't found a whole ton of uses for it. The most common one being using that stupid console QWERTY keyboard thing they keep shoving at you. I despise that thing. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go on a little rant here. A QWERTY keyboard is made for your 2 hands to use. We're not using 2 hands, we're using a joystick controller. Now again, this isn't me ranting against the Xbox or the PlayStation. I'm ranting against consoles in general. This is a problem they both have. Now, of course, these things' main purpose is to be gaming. I understand that. But if we take a look back in even a bigger picture, they're supposed to be entertainment devices that can do it all. At their core, that's what they are, right? TV entertainment devices. There's things I do with my TV all the time. Games is one thing, but half the battle is just watching Netflix and YouTube. I do that a lot. You're on YouTube right now. Here you are. So let's say I have a PlayStation and I get home from work. I just want to go on YouTube and see what I can find. Maybe watch some iPhone 7 Plus unboxing videos. I turn on the PlayStation, I go to the YouTube app, hit it, and needs a system update. PlayStation wants to be updated, and I'm like, oh, I want to watch YouTube now, so I hit update later. It's an option. When I hit update later, it takes me out of YouTube. YouTube will not open unless the system updates. So I'm feeling patient today. I go, okay, fine, go ahead and update yourself. So I hit update. It takes about 5 minutes flat. I sit there like this, waiting patiently. very quiet and lonely. Finally, it turns on. I go to YouTube. Hit YouTube again. It says failed to connect. I'm like, okay, maybe the internet's down. It can happen. So I open Netflix to see if the internet really is down, and Netflix opens just fine. It works. So YouTube's not working on the PlayStation. Okay. I give up. I don't know what to do. So let's pretend hypothetically I got rid of the PlayStation, got an Xbox One S. I want this to work much better now, right? So I got the YouTube app on the Xbox. I go to the YouTube app, hit open. It opens. Thank you. And it connects to the internet. Now I want to search for videos, and I do this. Letter, each letter, every letter I need. I hate that so much. It gets so old very fast. When you set up these things, they ask for so much information. The first thing is the Wi-Fi password. Then they want your Microsoft or PlayStation account email and the password. Then you get the password wrong because you can't see the letters. Where is Apple when I need them? Please, Steve Jobs, give me something that's thought through. What would you do?
Take this, my son. It will answer every question you have.
The Apple TV. Of course! Okay, no. I'm not gonna say the Apple TV is the better of the two consoles. This is not even in the same ballpark. I know you can't game for crap on the Apple TV. I'm just using it as an example of how other TV entertainment systems, ones that aren't meant for gaming, but cheaper ones, how they handle having a keyboard with a TV. So, let's apply that same hypothetical. I get home from work, turn on the Apple TV. I do this. Open YouTube. YouTube opens. Star Wars Rogue One. Oh, hey, there, look, that's what I was looking for. It's already playing. It was 10 seconds flat. No joystick keyboard control. Wouldn't it be great if we could add dictation features like this on these consoles? These controllers are very capable. Is it too much to ask to put a microphone in them? Or at least put a microphone in the console? Don't tell me about that turn on Xbox thing and getting the Kinect attachment. I don't need all that. All we need is a microphone. We don't need to add a camera and all this functionality for $60. Can we please stop using these dumb joystick keyboards? This is a joke. And you know, while I'm on my criticism rant here, both of these consoles aren't even 3 months old, and neither of them are really prepared for this Apple sheep kind of future I'm about. Now, this is gonna sound very Apple sheep to complain about, but I am an Apple sheep. But okay, so the speakers on my TV aren't that great, right? I don't really like them at all. What I do like is my Bose SoundLink Mini. It's a wireless Bluetooth speaker, sounds really, really nice. I'd recommend it to anybody. I've been using it for like 2 years now. It connects to my iMac, it connects to my phone, my iPad, everything. Even the Apple TV, which is very nice because you can move the speaker wherever you need it to. I figured since both of these consoles use Bluetooth controllers, you could probably connect a Bluetooth speaker to them, right? Why not? They must have that kind of technology in them. I made my Bose speaker discoverable, went to the Bluetooth section of the PS4 Slim, saw the SoundLink as an option, hit it, does not connect to Bluetooth audio devices.
Why?
But
Why? Why?
you just
Why? Why?
Why wouldn't it do that? Why does it show up as an option if it doesn't connect? Plus, if I put headphones into the controller, that works easily. And no, even on the Xbox, the Bose SoundLink didn't connect at all. I couldn't even get it to show up as an option. So if you can listen to the console audio via the controller, they are sending audio wirelessly. They just don't want to send it to a wireless audio speaker that's just a speaker. They need it to go to a controller. This seems very, very backwards to me, given there's something else the PS4 Slim doesn't have: a headphone jack. We're never gonna get off that topic, are we? You'd think if something is ditching the headphone jack, they'd be prepared for this wireless future that us Apple sheep, AirPod loving, expensive junk favoring people believe in. I know a lot of you are probably just saying you connect your speakers to the TV and then it gets its audio from HDMI. Listen, there's nothing more I hate than having a ton of remotes all over the place. Not hurricanes or Android or Apple haters or the Pixel phone. Multiple remotes is the worst. When I'm in the middle of a game and something gets too loud, I don't want to have to scramble to find where the other remote is so I can turn down the volume. Let me show you something interesting. My Apple TV wirelessly connects to the Bose SoundLink Mini, as all Bluetooth devices should. When I'm watching something, a single remote that controls the Apple TV also controls the sound. I can change the volume of the Bose without having to use some other weird remote. This isn't just how I like things to be, this is how all things should be. We don't need to have 30 remotes for each device we want to connect to the television. Okay, there, rant over. I said it. Now, if we want to compare controllers, I'm sure what you've used in the past is more familiar to you. But honestly, to me, I was familiar with neither of them. Once you get invested in the gameplay, you don't really notice a difference. Whether my thumbs are 1 inch away from each other or 3 inches away from each other, it's not a huge change. I think the Xbox One S controller is a lot more sleek looking and it doesn't have a lot of clutter. It's very simple. But the PlayStation controller also looks a lot more symmetrical. And there's a lot more things you can do with it, like the option button, the share button, the touchpad, the speaker on the front there. There's a lot more potential from the PlayStation controller. And it's also great that Sony has decided the future is just charging things and not having people go out and buy tons of batteries for stuff. Charging is easier. You just pick one day, like out of the month, to plug it in and then you're good. You know, like the Apple keyboard and trackpad. Even that stupid Magic Mouse 2. Those are all charged now because they realize changing batteries is too annoying to go out and buy them. Whereas I can just pick one day out of a month, plug it in for a couple hours, and then it's good for a long time. As well as the Apple TV remote. That's just how things should be, please. In the very end here, I think you've noticed I'm not a huge fan of either one of these consoles, and that's because there isn't a huge difference. Once you get into the game, you feel like you're using the same thing. Both consoles do a lot of the same things, and both of them make a lot of the same mistakes, and there is a ton of room for improvement. Overall, I can't really understand what these consoles are great at, and that's what I look for in a product. What does this product do better than any other device? And there's not a whole lot here. I don't think it's a great TV system because there's other options out there for Netflix, YouTube, Hulu that get the job done way easier. Whether it be the Apple TV, the Fire TV, Chromecast, any one of those is way cheaper, and I think it might be easier. And in terms of gaming, I think you're gonna have far better performance on a gaming PC, which I know I'm bringing up the PC Master Race, but that's what I started on too. But that can do way more than these consoles ever can because it's also a fully fledged computer, and computers can do all kinds of things. Now, I understand PCs are way more expensive, but PCs also have Steam and Origin, where tons of games you want to play are free, and online has always been free, where that's a different story with the consoles. In fact, Xbox One S is asking me constantly if I want to subscribe to Xbox Live. I really don't! Okay, and maybe your reasoning behind buying one of these consoles is exclusives. You know, like my friends at Tailosive Gaming. Maybe you're a huge fan of The Last of Us. Maybe you're a huge fan of the Halo franchise. That's fine. I'm sure they're great games. Just understand they're not $60 games, they're $400 games. If the game you love so much requires a console that's not great at doing a lot of things, and that's your primary goal with the console is that exclusive it has, that game's setting you back $400. And okay, if the game is that great, I respect your choice. You are free to do so. I can't stop you. I guess as a casual gamer, I've never understood that a single title, or just even a couple of titles, could make me want to spend that kind of money on one game. If you can't afford a PC, but you still want to go into gaming, I don't think you should be putting down $400 on a console. Plus the monthly subscriptions and the biggest games of the year are like $60 a piece plus DLC. I think you need to find more functional devices that are good at more than just one thing. At this point in time, I don't think it makes sense to buy single function devices anymore. So if you can't pay $600 to $700 for a really good gaming PC, I don't think you should be getting into that kind of a console market. Get a job, save up some more money, because if you don't have $600, $700 to spend, the consoles are gonna set you back over time and you'll be getting a worse experience. At least with the computer, you can get some actual work done as well. If you're a student, you can use that computer for school. If you're an office worker, you can check it for email and stuff like that. Computers are a lot of work and a lot of play, whereas a console is really just play. And if you want an all-play device but can't afford a computer, get something really cheap like an Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV Stick, Chromecast. Those are all very much more affordable. And that could cover your television side of entertainment, not the gaming side, I understand, but it would at least leave you with more money to save for a much better device. So who's the winner here? I guess, could really just flip a coin at this point. I really don't want either. I really don't. I'm gonna say PS4 Slim, honestly. If I had to choose, games do look a tad better on there. The controller can do more. The design is more sleek. It didn't need an hour-long setup process the moment I took it out of the box. VR support, that's neat. So there's your answer. Thanks for waiting around for the whole thing. And of course, I'm sure we're gonna have a big argument about it in the comments below. Can't wait to talk to all of you. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one.